you'll see. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J Dash and JK47. We got another 3 and Out segment coming for you. Dash's favorite ever. We're going to do a couple quarterbacks that could be traded or released. We're going to do a couple quarterbacks that are free agents. And we're going to talk about a couple quarterbacks who are basically the top 3 in the draft, according to NFL.com. A lot of people talk about...
Wait, before we start, how many of these quarterbacks do you like? I'm guessing there's 0.
1.
Oh, there is 1? Sweet.
2. And then I don't really know much about the young guys. I like Ryan Fitzpatrick and I like Peyton Manning.
You like Peyton Manning as much as you hate on this guy.
Well, right now he's garbage noodle arm. That doesn't mean he wasn't one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, and I respect the hell out of him.
You don't show him much respect, it seems.
Well, he has a giant forehead. I mean, even he knows that. Come on.
All right, get started.
All right. The first guy we're going to talk about is somebody you know I can't stand, Colin Kaepernick. He has said he doesn't want to be with the 49ers. Chip Kelly is the new coach in the 49ers. Everybody thought when Chip went there, oh, great fit, him and Cap. Well, guess what? Cap don't want to be there. At one point in Kaepernick's career, it looked like he was going to be better than Russell Wilson and Cam Newton, but that has seemed to change. He's regressed a lot. He's a guy who's not very good in the pocket. He leaves his first read too soon. He runs too often. His 2016 contract is guaranteed through injury only, but the guy's got a torn labrum right now, so if he is still injured as of April 1st, he will cost $13.5 million that year to whatever team gets him. So as far as trading him, it could be very tricky. He is more of a candidate for possible release.
So you don't think there's a chance he sticks around?
I guess there's a chance, but he says he doesn't want to be there. I mean, why would you stay somewhere if you come out publicly and said you don't want to be there?
Who the hell
I mean,
else
it's
is gonna
happened
take him?
before, but I understand where you're coming from. But I think he'd be smart to stick around for one more season, see if he can gain a little bit of momentum, because he's coming off a terrible season. You don't come off a season like that and say, I don't want to play for this team. I mean, you got to go out there and prove something yourself and give yourself some value so other teams want you. Yeah, you don't want to play for this team. Well, you're going to be playing for no team then.
Maybe the LA Rams will take him.
I mean, it's possible.
Nobody's going to trade for him if he's not healthy by April 1st anyway, because that's when his injury guarantee of $13.5 million is due, and nobody's going to give Kaepernick that kind of money, I mean, other than the 49ers if they're stuck with him, because they are if they don't release him.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the 49ers, I'd stick it out with him one more season. And if I was Colin Kaepernick, I'd buck up and stick it out with the 49ers for one more season.
I mean, Chip Kelly's supposed to be famous with mobile quarterbacks. He's finally got one, so why not try it out, I guess.
Or trade with Cleveland, straight up. Johnny Manziel for Colin Kaepernick.
Please believe. Garbage. What about the next guy, RG3? Does he still get a nickname?
RG Poop.
I don't know. He's even more certain to be on a different team than Kaepernick, if you ask me. There's no chance that RG3 is back in Washington.
Yeah, I would highly doubt that. I think that they're going to go with Kirk Cousins. There's no reason to stick around with RG3 here. Although you were saying Kirk Cousins, they're kind of stalled out on a contract with him as well. But I don't think they're going to turn to RG3 if things don't work out. And you were saying before about maybe him going back to St. Louis, the team that got all those picks for him in the first place. And maybe they can turn him around, but RG3, I mean, after he had that injury, me and 47 were just talking, after he had that injury there in the playoffs, they tried to turn him into more of a pocket quarterback, and it just doesn't work with RG3. He's definitely, he can't read a defense.
No. He's a read option quarterback, and if he can't be a read option quarterback and be able to run, then he's not going to be successful.
Yeah, and I think this guy's time has passed. I mean, he had the big season. He got paid. I mean, he should have money right now. I don't know if he blew it or what, or if he's going to be poor in a couple years or what, but I think his time's passed.
Ian Rappaport of NFL.com, I believe he's from, he reported that the Eagles, Cowboys, Texans are all interested in Robert Griffin, and, we said already that the LA Rams, so hard to remember, the LA Rams could be interested in him. He's due more than $16 million in 2016, so again, a trade is a little tricky for this guy. Are you going to trade for him? And maybe if he agrees to restructure after he's traded, but why would he do that? Why not just force the release and then be able to say, I'm going to go to whatever team wants me the most?
And I don't see why those teams would want him, to tell you the truth. I mean, Dallas, I guess they'd want him as a backup, but
Yeah, they said they
you're
want
not
to
gonna
groom him to replace Tony Romo.
ugh, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah. The Eagles, I think they're in a little bit of disarray after firing Kelly and kind of having to restructure the whole front office. I don't think he'll go there.
And Sam Bradford, he's a free agent?
Sam Bradford, yes.
And
They're not expected to franchise him. So
why would you?
Yeah, exactly. So if he wants to sign a deal, I think they're offering him somewhere in the midst of like 12 to 14 million a year. He wants like 17 to 21, somewhere in there.
You kidding me?
No.
I don't even think he's even worth half that, to be honest with
I
you.
totally agree.
Well, then, you know what? Maybe I would go with RG3 in that situation. To tell you the truth, why not RG3 a little cheaper than Sam Bradford? It's not like you're going to win a championship with Bradford, and if he wants more money than he's worth, go with someone, not that he's going to be much cheaper, but a little cheaper at least.
He may draw fans. Does he still have fans?
I'm sure he has fans out there.
What about the next guy, Johnny Manziel? We're not going to spend time on him because we've beat him into the ground. The Browns have already said they're going to release him. A lot of teams are afraid to even go near him because of the domestic dispute that's going on. The case is building. Nobody really knows how that's going to end up. So the only spot you really hear is Dallas for this kid. I think he's going to end up spending a year out of football.
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with this whole girlfriend situation or whatever. But if so far, I would take Johnny Manziel out of any of these quarterbacks you mentioned so far.
Wow, really?
Absolutely.
I'd rather just start myself.
Well, let's say, again, me and 47 were just talking. He mentioned Manziel as well. He'd take him over these first four guys, actually. Now, Geno Smith, you could consider, who you're going to mention here in a minute. But Johnny Manziel, I mean, the other two have proven that they're not going to be able to do it. So Johnny Manziel, I mean, he has a little bit of upside there that he showed this season. If he can get in a better system than the Cleveland Browns, he could succeed, but he's obviously going to have to get his head on straight first.
You know, since 99, there's only one Cleveland quarterback with a above 500 record.
Is it Kelly Holcomb?
No.
Brandon Whedon?
No. Your boy.
Bobby
Hoyer. He's the only one.
Yeah.
They've had 24
stretch with
quarterbacks
the Browns
since 99.
But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you say Johnny Manziel stinks. Is it that he stinks, or is it the fact that
Oh, Cleveland's a graveyard for quarterbacks.
Yes, exactly. So I think Johnny Manziel still has upside ahead of him.
I think Kaepernick has more upside than Manziel, especially since I've seen Kaepernick in a Super Bowl and 2 NFC championships.
Yeah, we've seen him there, but
you also seen Kaepernick with a great defense and so at least some playmakers around him.
I mean,
also.
Kaepernick looks terrible now, though.
Well, they tried to force him to be a pocket quarterback, which he's just not. It's just like RG3. You got to let him run. And he can't read the defense. That doesn't help him. Another guy, Geno Smith. He struggled to hold on to the starting job in New York in his time. Then IK and Paulie broke his jaw in the offseason or training camp somewhere around there. Ryan Fitzpatrick took the job and never let it go. So I also read today, earlier I think it was, that if they do re-sign Fitzpatrick, the Jets are expected to just let Geno go and, be his own man. Not in a bad thing, but he deserves a chance to go start and play somewhere. So they don't want that controversy in the locker room of who should it be. He's a high pick, but we have Fitzpatrick. So if they do sign Ryan, expect to see Geno be released.
And behind Manziel, this would be my second choice out of the top 4 we just mentioned. Geno Smith would be my second choice. I know he's not great, man. I don't want any of these quarterbacks to tell you the truth, but
I'm not saying
you got to go with someone.
Yeah, they're all bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with any of them if I had the choice.
At least the other guys got a shot to try to get their job. Geno just gets his jaw broke, and then Fitzpatrick is just way too good. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, but Geno Smith, he never succeeded in New York, obviously. But, I mean, the thing is, he needs a little bit more speed, too. I mean, he really doesn't run the ball much, and he's mediocre at best at being a pocket quarterback. So I don't see him succeeding no matter where he goes, to tell you the truth.
You either got to be pinpoint accurate or you got to have 4.4 speed to succeed at the quarterback position. The last guy here in the trade or release is Peyton Manning. I believe he's going to retire. I just wanted to throw him in there so we could talk about it for a second. I think Denver signs Brock Osweiler. I think Peyton is technically under contract for 1 more year, but Nobody's going to trade for his deal that he's getting paid right now. And it would just be stupid for him to come back unless he needs the money. Retire as the Super Bowl champion.
I mean,
I can guarantee he doesn't need the money.
Yeah, for real. But if
Unless
there was
he gets
a team
sued for this teabagging,
I can't really think of a team off the top of my head, but if there was a team that really just needed what he did last year, like with Denver, I mean, I could see him going to him. But like, if it was someone like the LA Rams, I highly doubt he'd even consider it.
People have said the Rams and the Texans.
See, the Texans kind of, because a lot of people thought they were going to be one of the best teams in football, and maybe they were a year away, and maybe next year is their year. So if Peyton Manning sees that in the Houston Texans, he could come in and just play mediocre football and see if that defense can ride him to a championship again. But that would be a mistake, because Peyton Manning, he's going out on top if he goes out right now, and the chances of him winning a Super Bowl next year are slim to none, no matter really any team in the league. Even if he went to the New England Patriots, there's still a slim chance you're going to win the Super Bowl.
Believe it. 47, you think he's going to stay with Denver?
I don't think he's going to stay anywhere.
Think he's going to retire?
I think he's going to retire. I mean, if the Texans, though, wouldn't really be a bad fit for him. I mean, if he would actually go to L.A. to play with the Rams, I actually think that would be a mistake in his part.
Yeah, just make him look bad. It's like Montana.
They were supposed to have the
Kansas
big-time defense, too. Maybe that defense steps it up next season and really turns that team around. But really, offensively, if Peyton Manning went there, they have no receivers there right now.
Right.
They'd have to do a total overhaul of that offense for him to consider going there.
Believe it. Well, let's talk about a couple free agent quarterbacks. We got Sam Bradford, Kirk Cousins, Brock Osweiler, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Bradford, he was in Philly. Chip Kelly's gone. Philly doesn't want to franchise him. I don't see there being a big market for Sam Bradford. I don't think he gets anywhere near what he thinks he's worth. What has he ever really shown other than mediocre stats and the ability to blow his knee out every other year?
Just that, his ability to blow his knee out every other year.
Yeah, he had upside at one time. In fact, the Pittsburgh Steelers were talking about trading Big Ben for Sam Bradford. I don't know how deep in the organization that went, but Sam Bradford had some high upside at one point. But again, those injuries to his knees, I mean, the upside's gone pretty much, completely gone.
I just don't like his ability to not go downfield. He just can't do it.
You're right.
And even he's just not going to succeed anywhere.
If you're a team on the cusp but doesn't have a quarterback, would you sign him?
I mean, certainly I'd take him over the previous four, I think. I mean, because, I've never been a big Colin Kaepernick. I actually balked at the offer that San Francisco gave him after that Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
But, he's clearly better than the five guys we just talked about right now.
I don't know, man. I think Johnny Manziel could be better than Sam Bradford.
Well, I think he could be too, but he's a moron. So,
yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, that's Manziel's biggest problem. He just can't get it together.
Sam Bradford, no. I'm not signing him unless he wants to take backup money.
Would you give him like a 3-year, $30 million deal? About 10 a year? That's
if I have a quarterback, if I have a starting quarterback that's maybe bottom third of the league, and I want a second, maybe starting quarterback, two guys with a competition. If one goes down, it's not really an upgrade, but it's also not a downgrade, something like that. But if I have a good quarterback, there's no way in hell I'm giving that guy $10 million a year.
Who won the trades, the Rams or the Eagles? Nick Foles for Bradford. Foles
I still like Foles better, but yeah, he got benched. But I don't know if he even. I guess he deserved to get benched, but who came in for him?
Kellen Clemens, I think.
Oh, no.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. Yeah. He was no better. So, it had something to do with the Rams' offense as well. They had, like I said, they have no receivers out there as well.
What about Kirk Cousins? We just said a couple times that his contract talks have stalled as of recently, but we do know that Washington has the ability to just put the franchise tag on him. That's probably going to pay him around $20 million a year. That's the only place I see him landing. They're not going to let him get out. They're going to franchise him if they don't come to a long-term deal. And I almost would rather franchise him, see what he's got for 1 year, pay him that $20 million, and if he completely sucks, yeah, you ruined that year or whatever, but at least you didn't invest 70, 80 million over the next 5 or 6 years into a guy who could not be a great quarterback. He was a 4th-round pick, I think it was, the same year as RG3. It's not like he had this great pedigree. And really, we looked at the stats and said it all year. He played like crap on the road, basically the whole season. It was at home where he put up a lot of numbers, especially towards the end of the year after he screamed, "You like that," into the camera. That's when he went on a run. So I'm not investing long-term big money into Kirk Cousins.
I think Washington's going to have to watch, though, because if they can't work out that long-term deal, maybe he does look somewhere else that some team might give him a long-term deal, and he might decide to go that way instead.
But if they tag him, he
Yeah,
has no choice.
right,
The
but
team would have to give up picks or whatever to get him. And
Right.
I'm not giving up a first-round pick to be
Right.
able to sign Kirk Cousins.
Well, I mean, you don't know what teams believe. There's players, look at Matt Flynn. Remember, people thought that guy was going to be a stud just because of
Yeah.
one good game. So you never know what teams are thinking.
They're crazy if they give him big money long-term.
And a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
possible.
He
though, man.
sort of
You
came
never
out
know.
of nowhere this year too.
Oh, yeah,
I'll tell you
definitely.
what though. I mean, they do have some nice pieces on that.
And he's not
Washington
very
offense,
old or
so-
anything either. He's
No,
kind of a
yeah,
younger
same
guy.
age as RG3 because they were
Yeah.
drafted the same year. He's probably the youngest up-and-comer out of them. I know Brock's not that old either.
So, I mean, we kind of might be sleeping on his guy a little bit, too.
We'll see. We'll see what he can do. What about Brock Osweiler? This is a guy we've seen play, I don't know, 10 games maybe this year, something like that.
Nah, I
Eight
don't
games.
Yeah, it was less than 10.
He played well. He beat the Patriots.
Started out well.
Yeah, he didn't
Kinda
turn the
tailed
ball
off.
over a lot. He didn't put up flashy numbers. They did put Manning in, was the second half against the Chargers, and then Manning never let go of the job. Was that the last game of the year or the
Yeah.
next to last game?
Last game.
There's reports that it was because of his performance. There's reports that he tweaked a knee, and that's why they needed Manning at that half. And then Manning played well enough, and Brock didn't progress healthy enough. But you could tell Manning wasn't 100% healthy either. He still really couldn't plant and drive with that foot. And he played well. I'm not hating on him. But neither one of them were healthy. So obviously they felt that Manning was still a better option over Brock if they were both hurt.
Yeah, and I think if Denver signs Brock Osweiler, I really don't expect them to repeat as Super Bowl champions.
Any chance he gets the franchise tag? I think it's going to go to Von Miller.
Yeah, you can't franchise tag Brock Osweiler right now. I mean, that's way too much money for what you've seen out of him so far. I'd rather just go a different way if things couldn't work out with Osweiler, to
Yeah.
tell you the truth.
Try to lure Kirk Cousins out there.
See if Peyton Manning will come back for one more season.
Trade Brock for Kirk.
Can
They
you
could
tag
tag
him and
him.
then trade him?
Yeah,
You can do that? Okay, well, I don't think Washington would want any part of that.
no. But it would be funny. I'm not sold on Brock. I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm saying he's in that second tier of quarterbacks still, and he's still only in the middle of those. I've seen Drew Brees has been dropped down on some people's list as the top of the second tier quarterbacks in the league now. I've seen one that had it Palmer, Brady, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, and then Eli, and then other people below them.
I mean, yeah, people coming into this past season, though, said Drew Brees was going to be terrible just because of all the moves they had to make and the Saints wouldn't be good. And, I mean, the Saints weren't good or anything, but Drew Brees is still Drew Brees.
Yeah, he still played good. I think he's still in that top tier.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Our last free agent is Ryan the Beard Fitzpatrick. This dude grows a mean beard, and I think the bigger it gets, the better he plays. He's a Harvard guy. He stole Geno's job after Geno got punched in the face. Played really well for the Jets all year. Almost got him into the playoffs. They've already said they want to bring him back. Like we said before, if they bring him back, they're probably going to let Geno Smith go. Todd Bowles really likes Fitzpatrick. He likes his leadership, and he likes his accuracy. So I think that's kind of a slam dunk. Out of all these, he's a Jet. There's no way the Jets let him go.
No, who knows? It's the Jets. They do some stupid things
Oh.
as well. But, yeah, they definitely have to bring this guy back. Although, I mean, we've seen in the past, Fitzpatrick, he puts up big numbers, but he kind of falls off at the end of the season,
Sometimes.
chokes almost.
He did fizzle this year a little bit.
Well, he definitely choked in the final game of the season as well. And, I mean, that's what he's known for, choking late in the season.
He's
So,
tough, though. He played through that thumb injury and played, all right. Him
Yeah,
with a bad thumb
he put up
injury
big
was still
numbers.
better than Geno Smith, according
Yeah.
to the Jets, because that's who played was Fitzpatrick. So
but he really got to break out late in the season and into the playoffs to become a quarterback on that next level.
If their defense can step up a little bit better than it was last year, I think he's a good fit for a team that's, that doesn't have any franchise quarterback there. But I'd give him a 2-3 year deal. Nothing huge.
How old is he? Do you know?
He's in his 30s, 31 maybe. You're not signing him long term, but got to get him locked up at least more than 1 year. 3 draft picks. I don't know a whole lot about these guys. I didn't do a lot of research. We got Jared Goff, Paxton Lynch, and Carson Wentz. Goff is considered to be the top QB in most people's drafts, not everybody's drafts. Mel Kiper has this poor kid going to the Browns 2nd overall in his mock draft. He might as well just quit football if that happens. And I feel bad for this guy. But when has a premier quarterback been able to go to such a wasteland like Cleveland and then really be able to get it back together again?
Yeah.
Steve Young is the only guy that I can think of.
What, with Tampa?
He left Tampa and then went to the 49ers and became successful.
Well, yeah, he left Tampa real quick, though.
But he was in the CFL, too, though, for a while.
Yeah.
So
but, he wasn't with Tampa very long. You know
right.
what I mean, he wasn't in that system.
But he was a top guy coming out of college who struggled early and then was able to actually put it together and become a Hall of Famer.
You got Kurt Warner.
Well, he was good early.
He wasn't
on in his career,
a top prospect coming out of college, though. You know what I mean? He was an undrafted guy. I'm talking about somebody who's a top
Tommy
pedigree
Maddox
guy.
was actually a pretty high pick there for Denver, wasn't he?
He was a first-round pick,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, and then he washed out.
I mean, he came back and had a good season at least.
Well, I mean, don't forget, John Elway also stuck it out several more years also whenever Maddox got drafted also, because he was actually drafted to be Elway's eventual successor.
Right. That never happened.
Yeah, but did you ever see the picture of him? He was like a little kid, man. He just wasn't ready.
He was a douche. Goff has a strong arm. He throws a good deep ball. It's very accurate. Uses good footwork to improve his accuracy. He's 6'4", 215. I mean, he's like the prototypical guy. Does that mean he's going to be 100% successful? No, especially if he ends up going to Cleveland. But he's big, strong. He's smart with the football. I mean, he's so many people's top pick. I just can't see him not being the top quarterback drafted.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing I could say about Cleveland, their offensive line actually isn't bad. You know, I mean, with Joe Thomas anchoring his blind side.
You got Alex Mack, too, on the center.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be too terrible of a situation if they can get the right coach and the right system up there.
Do you remember the show Coach? Didn't they go to Miami and coach an NFL team or something?
Orlando Breakers.
The Orlando
Breakers.
Breakers.
Okay. Well, I remember something about their first draft. They went in and they called this guy, one of the prospects, up and was like, we want you on our team. And the guy was just like, no, thank you, Coach.
I remember the episode. It was Lawrence Phillips, actually.
Oh, really?
We all know how good he turned out to be.
Yeah. Well, maybe this guy should just do that with the Browns. No, thank you, Coach.
That's what Eli did. He told the Chargers.
He didn't just do the no, thank you. He was kind of a dick about it.
Yeah. The next guy is the guy I like the most, Paxton Lynch. He's 6'7", 245 pounds. Huge guy. He works well in the pocket. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's got a quick release. A lot of them tall guys with the long arms kind of lag, and they have a slow release, but that's not the case with this guy. He was only sacked 15 times in 477 dropbacks. His size alone makes him the guy who has the best chance to succeed early. Maybe not long term.
So is he like a Ben and a Newton type quarterback?
Yeah, pretty much. He can move around, but he's not going to run for a whole lot of yards. He rushes a little bit, but it's usually if it's absolutely necessary. He's not a guy who is looking to run. He'll go through his first couple reads before he takes off.
What round's he projected? Do you know?
He's the second-ranked quarterback, so he's projected to go in the first round. All three of these guys are projected at some point in the first round in most mock drafts.
And who's that last one?
Carson Wentz, he's a little bit smaller, 6'5", 232. Now, this guy has played in a pro-style offense. He spent time under center. He's not a guy who was always in the shotgun in that pistol offense. He didn't run the read option where you fake the handoff and decide and blah, 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 blah. This guy knows how to get under center, read a defense, call out the blocking assignments, let his receivers and running backs know if he's changing the play. He's very smart before the snap. He's got a high, quick release, and he's pretty accurate for a college quarterback. He's not the most accurate guy in college, but that's something I think they can work on a little bit, when you get him in with the right QB coach or the right organization. but he has the best long-term potential, I think, out of all these guys. That's just my opinion, and mostly it comes from playing in that pro-style attack. These guys that come from the spread offense, it takes them 3-4 years to even learn and be comfortable under center. Even Roethlisberger looked a little weird his first couple years when he was under center. He stood funny. He always had like one leg back further than I thought. It just was weird. They're not used to it. This guy is. So I think if you bring him in and don't force him to start day one for a horrible team and let him get hammered into the ground, kind of like David Carr did with the Texans back in the day. So Wentz, to me, is the highest potential out of the three.
And he'll probably go a little bit later in the first round then?
Yeah,
you said
they're
he's
expecting
projected third?
Somewhere around 12 to 17.
Oh, seriously, still that high, huh?
Yeah, they
So
expect the top three quarterbacks
Wow.
to go within the top 20 picks.
Okay. I was thinking, he'll drop to the second round, the Patriots will draft him, and he'll just go on to win 8
Ridiculous.
Super Bowls.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to take over and win. I had a guy hating on me on Facebook when I said that Landry could be the best option for him, and he said, everybody has better backups. I said, well, what about Brady? Do you really think that Garoppolo, I mean, we haven't seen a lot, but do you think he's going to lead them to such a good season like Brady did? Probably not.
There are teams with better backups, but they also have worse starters, too.
Right, exactly. It's all about a certain amount of money being allocated to each position and how much a team values that position. But that's it. That's all the guys I got for you. 3 and out. We're done. Fans, any questions, comments, anybody you think should be inserted into these topics, let us know on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Keep checking out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to YouTube and clicking subscribe. Football for life.